Deep within your vascular system, a single molecule dictates the fundamental physics of your blood flow. It's called nitric oxide, and its primary function is to signal the smooth muscles lining your blood vessels to relax, forcing the pathways to expand. The realization that a gas could act as an endothelial-derived relaxing factor was completely unexpected in cardiovascular biology. For decades, the mechanism was entirely hidden from clinical observation. The discovery of this signaling pathway was so critical to human health that it earned the 1998 Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine. But nitric oxide presents a severe biological problem. It is an incredibly unstable gas with a half-life of mere milliseconds. Yet your cardiovascular system requires unyielding second-by-second regulation to maintain proper blood pressure and prevent arterial stiffness. To survive, the human body has to continuously generate a steady, systemic supply of this volatile molecule before it breaks down. Understanding how the body reliably produces such a fleeting gas to manage its blood flow provides the blueprint for maintaining vascular flexibility as the body ages. This diagram shows the two main ways we synthesize it. On the left is the primary mechanism, the NOS pathway. Here, the enzyme nitric oxide synthase converts the amino acid L-arginine into nitric oxide, a process that requires a heavy supply of oxygen. On the right is the body's secondary system, the nitrate-nitrite-nitric oxide pathway. This operates entirely independently of the NOS enzyme. Notice the key physiological difference here. This secondary sequence continues to function perfectly even under hypoxic or low oxygen conditions. Instead of relying on internal enzymes, this backup pathway relies completely on the exogenous intake of inorganic nitrates, compounds sourced heavily from whole food vegetables. Humans possess a built-in, diet-dependent biological fail-safe for vasodilation, completely circumventing the primary enzymatic pathway. In young, healthy individuals, the primary NOS pathway is highly active and efficient at regulating blood pressure. This chart tracks human age against NOS enzyme efficiency. As you can see, endothelial dysfunction steadily sets in after young adulthood, causing natural NOS production to plummet. To counteract this steep decline and manage hypertension, older adults must force vasodilation through the secondary nitrate-nitrate-nitric oxide pathway, using targeted dietary interventions. The specific chemical substrates required are inorganic dietary nitrates, found in dense concentrations in foods like beetroot and dark leafy greens. While beets get the most attention, arugula actually contains a significantly higher concentration of nitrates by weight, making it a highly efficient delivery vehicle. When you consume these vegetables, the inorganic nitrates travel through the stomach and are rapidly absorbed across the intestinal wall, directly into your rushing bloodstream. Integrating these specific whole foods provides the precursor chemical substrates necessary to bypass a failing internal enzyme. This map traces the next crucial step in the pharmacokinetics. Once in the blood, an active transport mechanism begins pulling the circulating nitrate molecules upward, sequestering them inside the salivary glands. Up to 25% of all circulating systemic nitrates are isolated and concentrated here. Your salivary glands then secrete these highly concentrated nitrates right back into your mouth, initiating a cross-species biological loop. Commensal anaerobic bacteria residing on the back of the tongue interact with these NO3 molecules, stripping away an oxygen atom to create nitrite, or NO2. Without the specific action of these oral bacteria, the entire conversion process halts, and the dietary nitrates you consumed remain biologically useless for vasodilation. This brings us to a significant clinical finding known as the mouthwash paradox. Eradicating the oral microbiome with antibacterial mouthwash destroys this exact conversion site. Clinical studies show that regular use of antibacterial mouthwash completely severs this biological loop, directly leading to demonstrably higher systemic blood pressure. Human vascular maintenance relies heavily on our commensal oral microbiome to do the chemical processing our own bodies cannot. When you swallow that nitrite-rich saliva, it hits the highly acidic environments of the stomach, where gastric acid and enzymes further reduce the nitrite into active nitric oxide gas. But this newly formed nitric oxide molecule is extremely vulnerable.
degrading almost instantly the moment it is exposed to circulating free radicals. To survive the bloodstream, it requires a protective shield. In nature, this comes from the natural antioxidant matrix, specifically vitamin C, that inherently coexists with nitrates inside whole plants. Consuming foods like citrus or berries alongside your nitrate-dense greens provides this exact antioxidant shield. It stabilizes the NO molecules and extends their half-life in your blood. This chart highlights a persistent nutritional paradox. The left side shows plant nitrites combining with vitamin C to form beneficial nitric oxide. The right side shows what happens when synthetic nitrites are added to processed meats like bacon or hot dogs. Those synthetic nitrites completely lack the protective botanical antioxidant matrix. When exposed to stomach acid and high cooking temperatures, they rapidly form toxic, carcinogenic nitrosamines instead. The therapeutic safety and efficacy of dietary nitrates rely entirely on their original botanical packaging. Isolated chemicals become toxic without their whole food antioxidant synergies. Because of this multi-step process, the peak concentration of active nitric oxide in your bloodstream usually occurs 2 to 3 hours after ingestion. The immediate clinical result is a systemic vasodilation capable of dropping systolic blood pressure by 4 to 5 millimeters of mercury. Beyond macrovascular effects, this surge targets the cellular level, directly impacting how the mitochondria inside your skeletal muscles generate ATP. Elevated nitric oxide levels alter mitochondrial efficiency by reducing the exact oxygen cost of physical exercise. By supplying the right dietary precursors, both athletes and aging adults can force their cells to generate identical mechanical power while consuming significantly less oxygen, delaying the onset of physical exhaustion. Endothelial dysfunction is the earliest physiological event in the progression of cardiovascular disease and atherosclerosis. This cross-section compares the mechanical consequence of failing to produce adequate nitric oxide. The stiff artery on the left is inflaming and accumulating plaque, while the NO-rich artery on the right remains flexible and actively repels the adhesion of white blood cells and platelets. Proactively flooding your body with plant-based nitrates creates a systemic protective shield against this specific arterial stiffening. This dietary intervention provides a direct biological workaround, bypassing the broken enzymatic machinery responsible for age-related vascular decay. Long-term cardiovascular health depends heavily on the biochemical preservation of the endothelial lining. The process operates as a continuous cross-species loop, from your gut up to your oral microbiome, back down to the stomach, and out into your cellular mitochondria. Because nitric oxide degrades in mere milliseconds, you cannot stimulate this pathway occasionally. It demands a daily trickle-feed approach. Dividing your intake between a morning nitrate-dense juice and an evening antioxidant-rich green salad ensures continuous vascular perfusion throughout the day. And the mechanical process of thoroughly chewing those greens is vital. It gives your oral bacteria the time they need to initiate the chemical reduction. Optimal vascular resilience is achieved by mastering this precise biological loop, powered by the synergistic chemistry found only in whole foods.